Hey guys, welcome back to Vegan Voice. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the new Netflix film, Okja. Basically, Okja is about a animal agriculture company that has bred a new breed of pig, the super pig, which grows a lot bigger. They've set out 26 of these pigs from birth out to 26 different places around the world, and set up a competition that the one that grows the biggest is the winner. Maja, I'm not entirely sure how you say it, but Maja is a young girl who lives with her grandfather, who has brought up one of these pigs for the last 10 years, and it happens to be her pig that was crowned the winner. So basically the whole film follows her chasing after her beloved pet as she realises where it's destined to go, as her grandfather, I believe, her grandfather explains to her that the pig was being bred for this competition and that eventually he will be going off to slaughter. So Maja, of course, is horrified to hear this, runs after the pig, and yeah, so we're following that story. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is, in this film, Okja is extremely personified. I want to say that this can be both good and bad. It does set up a really good representation of how a child can come really close to their pet, whether it be a dog or a cat or whatever it is, even though we don't often see people who have pet pigs. It forces people to take a step back for a moment and to see that this animal, like your pet dog or your pet cat, has its own personality, it has its own quirks, it has its likes, it has its dislikes. But the fact that it's overly personified doesn't necessarily subtract from the film, because there is a lot of animal kids films that are personified. It helps to draw on people's emotions so that when we later go on to the slaughterhouse scenes, the feelings that you get having personified it, having built this relationship between the child and the pig, could be reflective of the feelings you would have if your own pet were in this situation, which helps people to realise that when they involve themselves in the meat industry and buy this meat, they are in essence taking away an individual's life, not just the whole species going one after the other down to the slaughterhouse. Each animal is its own, well, I don't want to say it's its own person, but it's its own individual. It has its own likes and dislikes, much like Okja does, and given the chance, any kid could become attached to one of these animals, bringing it up from a young age. As much as the animal is personified, I think it can take away from the overall effect of the film, because it kind of makes it less real to us. The personification does help us fall in love with the character in much the same way as Babe is personified and we fall in love with the piglet. So after all this personification and this increased love for the character, it helps to bring out the same emotions that we might have if our own pet was put into the situation where it went to one of these animal testing facilities, or if it went to the slaughterhouse that Okja goes to.
This is the tenderloin for the sophisticated restaurants. The Mexicans love the feet, I know, go figure. We all love the face and the anus, as American as apple pie, hot dogs. It's all edible. All edible except the squeal.
In itself, the slaughterhouse scenes are very, very representative of how animals are actually treated, how much space they have, and how they are killed. Even the contraption that Okja gets put into. So I think in showing these scenes it could be quite upsetting to children, but I don't think it's any more upsetting than hearing like 101 Dalmatians, Cruella de Vil's plans to make a fur coat. I don't think it would upset kids more than that does, because in the same way you don't see the gore, it's just kind of, it's implied what's going to happen or has happened. And I think this film could be very, very useful if you're vegan parents, vegetarian parents, simply activist parents who want to explain to your child why you're different from other parents, whether you choose to bring up your child vegetarian or let them make their own choice when they're older. It helps kind of, when they get to that questioning stage around, I don't know, most probably maybe age 11 would be the best age for this. But if they get to that questioning stage, why do you eat differently to other parents? Why can't I have this? Then yeah, it's a good video to kind of introduce the topic, but not too much for such a young kid to handle. So it's not lying to them, it's slowly introducing the whole idea. Okay, so I think that the animal activists in this film can be seen as a bit crazy, a little bit erratic, but their heart's in the right place, and we can see that through the whole thing because they're constantly saying, we don't want to harm you, please just let us do this thing and nobody's going to get hurt. They even tell the guy in the first scene, put your safety belt on, and then they come aboard and take Okja. So yeah.
Hi!
Wishful.
Hey, old man! Safety! But we're not gonna hurt you! You'll be okay! Yes? Okay.
The film shows why animal activists may feel the need to break laws in getting their message across and may feel frustrated that they can't get it across in other ways, and that they feel like they need to break laws to get the animals out of that situation because it hits home so much for them in their beliefs. However, I want to say it could be quite damaging to stereotype that vegans and activists are extreme because they are rescuing this giant pig from a massive truck in the middle of a highway. So yeah, it could be seen as quite detrimental to the image, but at the same time it kind of explains to people why they feel so tight about it. But I think at the same time this film kind of, it tries to shed a little bit of comedy in there, which is quite an odd mix to try and put that in. Being a family film you would expect a bit of comedy, and there is in Okja's scenes with really lovable moments. There's certainly some comedy in how the activists are portrayed when they ask him to drop his seatbelt and whatnot, and there's definitely comedy in showing how the person behind all of this industry is acting in the way she speaks. So yeah, a character that we love to hate in a sense. I think it's really good as well. It expresses to people how the meat industry will try to kind of put up a screen in front of what it really does and change the way meat looks and change everything, set up competitions and things and happy animal images to try and get people to forget that what they're taking is a life, and to try and get people to think that what they're doing is okay and that the animals are all happy, kind of like subliminal imagery. Because the more we see that these animals are happy and the more pictures we see of them in a field, whether that be the common industry practice or not, we start to believe them a little bit subconsciously. Yeah, so the activists explained to Maja in one bit about how the company uses the competition to distract the public from the fact that they hate GM food, and that this super pig is basically a massive genetically modified pig. People wouldn't be very happy to know that, so they set up this competition to distract everyone and hype them up so that the initial sales will just boom and they'll get the reputation that they want from all the reviews. They even go on to mention the security of the animal testing labs and the actual slaughterhouses, which, when you think about it, being a place that's not really the nicest of places, I doubt there would be very many people wanting to break in there for any other reason than to take videos of what's going on and shed it to the public. That's quite an important thing to think about. Why would they need all this extra security besides just locking the door if what they were doing was 100% okay? There's more things that they try to hide from the public. Like when you see these transport vans, they'll only have a very small strip of space for the animals to breathe, and then aside from that you won't be able to see in at all. They're designed so that you can't see the way the animals are packed in because it will upset consumers. I want to say as well, the show pushes this even further by going on to show the complete panic of the industry, the panic of the lady behind all of these GM pigs. It shows her complete panic when the activists actually hit the media, because everyone sees with Maja going after Okja on the highway, and that would have hit news and Facebook all over the place. So there's a scene from a meeting that the lady has. Sorry, I can't remember her name. But she's in complete panic mode because she knows that everyone's going to see what they are behind it all. Behind all this competition, everything, they're going to see it all. Now this is kind of reflective to real life and how veganism is steadily growing quite fast now. I think, if I remember correctly, and I will put some sort of box of writing up here if I've got it wrong, but I think it was 500% increase in searches for the word veganism since 2010, I think it was. And in response to that, you can actually see it happening when you look at the adverts. If you have a critical mind and you've looked at how it's all going on, as soon as a campaign starts against milk or something by Go Vegan World, suddenly all these adverts come out about these cows on the field, and all these videos come out with happy cows, happy images, free range. Like how there was massive campaigns against McDonald's for the way they bring up their chickens, I believe it was. And since then they've done quite a bit of adverts to do with that. I think it was McDonald's, I will check that. But yeah, we can see the panic on her face when consumers start to see the unbiased truth. They see it for themselves and they make their own mind up about these things. So, like I said earlier, I would definitely recommend this film for a family who's bringing up a child and they want to show the kids how important animal activism is. Maybe for kids around maybe 10 upwards. You could show it to younger kids. I don't think they'd be traumatised, but could be a little bit upsetting. I mean, Cruella de Vil upset me when I was little, but yeah, I'd put it on par with that, maybe a little bit worse, because there are some scenes of Okja screaming. But again, there's no blood or gore, it's completely implied. Even the slaughterhouse scene, we don't actually see gore, we just see all the pigs packed into one space. If an adult came up to me asking about the meat industry or whatever and they wanted to know more about it but didn't want to watch a full-blown documentary, I don't think I would recommend them this, because I think this is more geared towards families and children, future generations. If an adult came up to me about it, I would probably, if they weren't up for a completely serious documentary, I would probably recommend them Carnage instead, which I did a review on before. I'm not sure how to link YouTube videos, but there's a picture up here, so if you can find it on my channel then that's great. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave any comments with your feedback or any video suggestions. I will try and do a review soon of Forks Over Knives. I just want to add to that, I'm really sorry I haven't actually put up a video for about 3 months. Summer holidays kind of gotten up on top of me a bit with sorting out all my stuff for uni because I'm going self-catered this year. Going self-catered, there should be some recipe videos to come for the next 3-4 years that I'm at uni, so I will try my best to find time to make this regular again.